called the Juventus Official Fan Club, JOFC, which is the only official club here in Western Canada.
So how did you get involved with the team in the first place?
To be honest, it was something that I wanted to do for my dad. He passed away in 2007. So I wanted to do something to keep his legacy going. And he was the one who got me into being a fan of Juventus from the moment I was born.
Okay, amazing. Where is Juventus based? Is it like a city name team or?
Yeah, no, it's Juventus is based in Torino. Juventus, the nice thing about Juventus is not attached to any city. So that's why it has a lot of fan base. It's because it's not attached to a city. So if you're from Rome, you go for Roma and so forth. Juventus actually means youth in Latin.
Okay, makes sense. So even though it's not tied to a specific city, are there fans that kind of come from a type of region? Is it a north-south thing, east-west? How does that kind of work?
Yeah, so Juventus, the owner of Juventus is also the owner of Fiat. So Fiat being, in the old days, I'm not so sure about now, being the biggest employer in Italy, most of their employees would go for a team that was owned by their boss.
Right.
So the fan base is throughout Italy. It's the only team that has fan base throughout Italy. The least of the fan base is actually in Torino.
Okay. So if you go throughout Italy, you will see Juventus signs, Juventus shirts, all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's really interesting. Let's talk about the history of the team as well, because I think that was one of the key points that really made an impression on me, is that the team has never been sold. It's been owned by the same family for the last century.
Yeah, so the team was established in 1897, but shortly thereafter it was bought by the Anelli family, with which they never relinquished the ownership to this day. Yeah, so it's been over 100 years that they've been owners, and I think that's something that cannot be said for a lot of teams in the world.
Yeah, is there a reason why? Has it just been a point of pride for the family for whatever reason?
Yeah, so it was it was something that they fell in love with. So soccer, football, however you want to call it, and the family fell in love with it, and it was part of their businesses. But it was never meant to be a business. It was always meant to be a hobby, just love, and it's been like that ever since.
Okay, so let's go back to your story.
Yep.
You get involved in it through your father. Is there, when you first get to know the team, is there a big presence for it in Vancouver? I mean, you were also born in Italy as well, so how did that kind of...
Yes.
Did you bring the passion to the new country with you?
No, actually, I was born here in Vancouver.
Oh, okay.
And but I was brought up in Italy for 10 years. But I've always been a Juventus fan since I can remember. What it came about, I wanted to do something special. I wanted to do something unique. So I started doing some research in 2016. And then in 2017, I ended up starting the process of having an official fan club here in Vancouver. It's the only official fan club actually in Vancouver. There is no other team that has it. Napoli, or other AC Milan or Inter Milan. Juventus is the only official fan club presence here in Vancouver. The process was actually quite involved, and it actually did cost some money. But I knew I had a fan base, and the nice thing about Juventus fan base here in Vancouver is that it's not just Italians. Well, I have it from all over. We have French. We have a lot of South Americans. We have Middle Eastern, Chinese. I mean, you name it, East Indians. And it's because it's not Juventus itself. The name, it's not attached to a city.
Right. Okay.
That's, I think, why it is loved by everyone, and also because Juventus has had many world champion players. Mm-hmm. Some people have fell in love with the player, and then when the player left the team or retired, they stuck with the team.
Right. So I want to talk more about how you set up the fan club, but in terms of players, who would you say have been the biggest players to be on the Juventus team?
Well, in my generation, I think it started with when I was really really young with Michel Platini. He was probably my favorite when I was growing up. But then we had Roberto Baggio, we had Zinedine Zidane, we had Alessandro Del Piero, who I named the club after. So our club is called Juventus Official Fan Club, Vancouver, Alessandro Del Piero.
Okay.
So that's just a side note. We've had players, Trezeguet, I can name so many, but the team has had so many world champions that have attracted a lot of fans.
And I think Ronaldo played on the team for a short period of time as well.
Ronaldo played for the team between, I believe it was 2018 and 2021 for about 3 years. He came from Real Madrid. He was already an established champion. He came to help the team to lift more trophies, and he did that. He also increased visibility for Juventus. I have to admit, Juventus to this day has the most followers on social media, by far, number one. If you go to Italy, and I think a lot had to do when Ronaldo came.
Yeah,
because Ronaldo was a business.
Right.
It's not a player. He brought in a business. He has his own business,
his own fan base.
Like and some of them stayed with Juve as being fans, but a lot of them follow him.
Right. I guess culturally, is the team known for sort of growing and molding players? Is that what they're known for, or is it one of those established teams where stars come, they stay for a few years, they leave? What do you think? How would you describe that?
I would describe it in between, depending on times in history. In the 80s and 90s, it's where all the champions wanted to be at, right? Now it's probably maybe not the first step, but it'll be the last step before going maybe to a little bit bigger team, international, that's more known, say Real Madrid. That's the only other team I can think of, or at the most Barcelona. But the business has changed now. Right now the Premier League is taking over in terms of bringing players in, but that's because they're able to pay more.
Right.
And unfortunately, the players now are a little bit different than the old days. They go more for money than glory.
Right.
Okay, so instead of being in a team and being loved for the rest of their lives, they go after money.
That's a good thing to talk about. So there's different leagues. For La Liga is the Spanish league.
Correct.
And then what is the Italian league?
Serie A.
Okay. And then Juventus is, I guess, a tier 1 team within that league.
Yeah, Serie A is the Premier League.
Right. Okay. So historically, I guess if you were a person from, southern Italy, Naples, let's say, you would want to play for your team for the recognition and also the legacy, in a sense.
Correct.
For your place of being. Was that ever an issue, given that Juventus isn't tied to a specific city?
That's a good question. No, Juventus has never been tied to a city, but Juventus is a team that is that has such a history behind it. Juventus is not just a team; it's a way of life. If you look at it, it's because it's always been owned by the same family. You see how they treated their fans and how they treat their players as being part of the family.
Right.
Even when they go away.
Right. There's a level of respect there.
Yeah, it's
that the name carries.
That's right. So it's totally different.
Interesting. Okay. Well, who's your favorite player that's ever been on the team?
For Juve?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a toss-up between Michel Platini and Del Piero.
Why is that?
Why is that? Michel Platini was my idol when I was between 10 years old and 13 years old. But I saw I saw Del Piero from youth coming up. So, and I saw how both these players, when they stopped playing, they never played for another team in the same league. They
Right.
would go away. They would never compete against the team that they loved.
Right. That's cool.
Okay, so that's respect. Going back to respect.
Yeah, exactly. So where would you, in the current state of things, where would you say the Juventus team and the Italian leagues compare to other places?
So right now, I would say in Europe, Serie A is probably third or fourth. Premier League is number one. La Liga is number two. And I think the Bundesliga in Germany is really strong as well. And then Italy. So Italy and Bundesliga, I think right now are the same.
Okay.
It's been hard for the Italian league to attract sponsorship.
Really? Sponsors?
Yeah, sponsors outside of Italy.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's a whole different. If you want to do a whole different program about Serie A, why they're having such problems.
Well, let's talk about it. We got time.
I find that the powers that be in Italy, in Serie A and FIGC, it's called the umbrella that has power over Serie A. They have a different mentality, say, than Premier League. The Premier League is a business mentality. We want to have competition. We want to make sure that all the teams are at a high level. We want to make sure that the fan will have a great time watching games. In Italy, it's always been more of a technical league. And the problem is Juventus and AC Milan are probably the only two teams that have tried to up the level by investing more money. Lately, it's only been Juventus because Juventus is backed by Exor. Exor is a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation that's owned by the Anelli family. So they were the only ones who were able to invest in the team to make the team great. The problem came about that for 9 years in a row, Juventus won every year.
Right.
So Serie A felt that this was not good for the league. But instead of trying to make the other teams better, they brought Juventus down to their level.
Right. Okay.
By-
So how did that happen?
By making so in Italy there is two types of law. There is a sporting law and a civil law. So in the civil law, you're innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
Okay. In a sporting
where
law,
this is going.
in a sporting law, you are you are not innocent and you're guilty. And then later on, if you're innocent, well, sorry, we made a mistake. But what they do is they demote you. They give you penalties, even though they haven't proven that you were guilty.
Right.
And then 3 years later, they find out that you are not guilty, but that's too late. I mean, the damage has been done.
Could it be, and again, this is me knowing nothing about the league.
That's fine.
But could it be as simple as something like we just need to compete with wages? Is it just a pay issue? Is it just,
No.
we need a better team to spread the word?
This is a more complicated issue than just money. I mean, the Saudi league, they're in a different level whatsoever. The only way that they can attract talent is by overpaying them. They have the money to do it. But most people that want to have a career, unfortunately, will not go to the Saudi league.
Right.
Ronaldo has had his career, so he would go. It doesn't matter to him, right? He doesn't have anything to prove. The problem with wanting to compete in Europe, especially in Italy, the teams, the owners have to invest in the infrastructures. I'll give you an example. Juventus, the first team that actually built their own stadium. Juventus, they own their own training facilities. Juventus, they own their own medical clinic that other people can actually go privately. Juventus owns their own hotel there. Juventus owns their own shopping mall there. Okay. Juventus owns their own museum. Like all these things that will bring money.
Right.
But you need to invest, right? Most of the other teams like AC Milan, Inter Milan, they rent the stadium. They have one
Right.
stadium and they rent between them. You cannot do that. Juventus was the first team that actually had a B team. So a B team where they would grow their own talent.
Right.
We have a player right now called Yildiz, number 10. Turkish player. It probably costed us, 10 million euros. He's probably worth on the upwards of 90 to 100 million right now. And he's only 21 years old.
Right. That's crazy.
But that's all coming from having longevity, having this foresight on, because Juventus didn't invent this. It looked at other leagues.
Right.
Barcelona's had their cantera, it's called, for the longest time.
Yeah. So like Barcelona, for example, they own all their facilities.
Barcelona owns their facilities, Real Madrid owns their facilities, most of the English teams own their facilities.
Right.
Most of the German teams, the same thing. That's what I'm saying. It's unfortunately Italy, since and I'm not putting Italy down. It's just being
No,
Italian.
of course, this is more education for me.
Italy, since the World Cup in 1990, they haven't built any new facilities, nor have they restructured any of the facilities they have.
Right.
They're too old and they need to invest. So unless you have ownership like the Anelli family, now at the head is John Elkann, who is Gianni Agnelli's grandson, you can't compete with the rest of Europe.
Right. What do you think needs to happen for that to take place?
So it's slowly happening. So ownership in Italy is changing from the teams. So we have Roma, who's owned by Americans. We have Bologna, that's owned by Canadian, actually, the Saputo family.
Oh, okay.
We have Fiorentina, who's owned by Americans. AC Milan is owned by Americans. Inter right now is owned by Americans as well. So as now they're slowly changing, I think they're finding out that to improve, you need to invest. Fiorentina, for example, they invested just this past year in, they call it Viola Park, which is a training facility just like Juventus has had for, 15 years now. So they're seeing that to improve, to compete with Europe.
So that's one piece of the puzzle, maybe potentially bringing in outside investors that have a bigger risk appetite, are willing to, throw hundreds of millions of dollars down.
Yeah,
billions.
But the only way that's going to happen, though, is that if the quality of the game increases. So
Right.
For that to happen, to get the sponsorship, to get people to buy the rights, they need to make sure that the quality is there. And the quality comes with quality players.
Right.
And at this point, Italy is behind with quality players. Italy was the place where champions would go to. Now, champions go to retire. That's
Right.
the difference.
Interesting.
Okay, so we need to change that. And there's only a handful of teams in Italy, probably one or two, that is able or willing to do that. It's a mentality thing you need to change.
Right. I'm sure you saw the Ryan Reynolds thing where he bought like some nearly bankrupt,
Yep.
I think it was an Irish team or
I think
Welsh
it's a
team?
second division English team.
Yeah, something like that. So is that an angle? Like a celebrity involved, a big name that can kind of market it more and get people attracted to, whether that be
Correct.
players, attendees, and stuff like that?
So there's a team in Italy that was in Serie B not long ago. Now is in Serie A. The name is Como. So that was bought by someone in Asia, but it was run by an American manager. And what they've done is, because in that town there are a lot of celebrities that live on Lake Como, so they've started bringing in actually actors to come and watch the games.
Right.
So that brought a lot of visibility to the team, even though
Yeah.
it's not a great team. So to your point, yeah, that's
You're
part
a lot
of it.
smarter than me. I was looking for the word visibility.
So it's brought up visibility for that little team.
Right.
But in terms of for someone like Ryan Reynolds to invest, Ryan Reynolds saw that there was a potential because from the second division, you will go to first division, then Premier.
Right.
They know that there's a structure in place that is solid. And to be honest, in Italy right now, it's not. If you buy a Serie B team and you even bring it to Serie A, unless there are some changes there, the investment is not worth where you're going to get the return.
So in a sense, there's clear advancement for the players, and that's what motivates them to join perhaps a lesser known team, at least to start.
In Europe, I mean, in Italy or in
Just in England with
in
the
England. In
Ryan
England, I'm
Reynolds
talking about as an
example.
investor. So if I'm an investor, right, and I need to invest some money, and I look at the business model of England and the business model of Italy, if I'm a businessman, it doesn't matter whether I like Italian teams or not, I'm going to invest in England because the business model there is proven. It's not, unfortunately, in Italy, we have people at the helm that will make decisions based on who they root for the team instead of making business decision what's best for the league. That's what they do in England. In England, whether they're Liverpool fans or Arsenal fans, if Arsenal did something wrong, they will penalize them no matter what. They're
Right.
not going to have allegiance to the team because, oh, I'm an Arsenal fan, so I'm not penalizing you. And I'm taking Arsenal just as an example. I'm
Yeah,
not
of
saying,
course.
where in Italy, unfortunately, it's still done a different way.
Do you think junior teams play a role in this? Like having a young, prosperous junior team tracks, for the players at least, kind of a pathway to move up.
One of the reasons why Juventus has been able to attract young talent is because they have the infrastructure. So they have a U16 team. They have a U23 team, what's called Next Gen.
Right.
Okay. And then they have the A team, right? The first team. So if you're a young kid and your manager will look at Juventus and say, okay, so my kid he's 15, he's going to play for U16. Perfect. And then he's going to step up to Next Gen. And then if he does well, he'll have a chance to play for the first team. Where you take any other team in Italy, well, they may have a U16 team. They don't have a U23. They may be affiliated with another lesser team, but it's not their team. So the chances of that team, that player going there is very little because then they'll rather go for a team where it's all structured in.
Got it.
Right now, Juventus being the first one to do that, AC Milan followed suit and Atalanta followed suit. So now there are 3 teams in Italy that has at least the U23 team. Hopefully the new generation we'll see what needs to be fixed.
Okay. So let's talk about your story.
Yeah.
I mean, as we were setting up the podcast equipment here, we were talking about how hard that is. And same thing with, other endeavors in life, setting up a fan club. People probably think, oh, you just got to send out a couple emails, get approval, but there's clearly more to it. So how does someone actually go about setting up a club like that?
Yeah, so what I had to do is I had to make inquiry in Juventus first, and I didn't know where to start. So I went on their website and I just sent an email to info@juventus.com, and somebody got back to me, actually really nice. It was quite an ordeal, quite a process because Juventus, and it's not only Juventus, the Italian laws are way different than over here. So I had to actually open a nonprofit organization. And in Victoria.
Okay, in Victoria. Okay.
In Victoria,
and we're in Vancouver.
We're in
currently.
Vancouver. Well, yeah, I had to be registered in Victoria. I had to have an address of Vancouver. So I don't live in Vancouver, I live in Delta, but I couldn't have a Delta address. It has to be a Vancouver address.
Was there a reason for, Victoria here, Vancouver for this?
Victoria is because the main registry is in Victoria. So I had no other way of doing it. Not sure why, but my lawyer, my lawyer is also Italian and he's very well, he knows the Italian law. So that's why I hired him because he understood, even though it didn't make sense, a lot of them, but he understood. That's the way it's done and that's all there is to it. so I use my office here as my office, and his office is in Vancouver. So we use this one as the mailing address here where I work, and the legal address being his office in downtown Vancouver. After I did that, had to go back to Italy to make sure that it was approved. They'll give you what it's called the nulla osta, which is the all okay. After you get that, then you need to register. And here in international, you have to have minimum 30 members. So I thank God I have a large family. So I kind of prepaid for everybody.
Okay.
So I got to 30
That's
right
awesome.
away. And where we went, I also had a very good friend of mine who I asked, in case we, we needed to attract other people. So he became the vice president. Silvio Papa is his name. And so he's a co-founder with me. And I'm the president. He's the vice president. And that's how we started. And then I started calling people, to be honest, just like I do with my business. And having that type of experience, we got up to 176 members within 2 years.
Oh, that's awesome.
And we had the one in Toronto that's been around since the 90s. At that time, I had 250. So I felt really good. But it was not a hobby anymore. It became a job.
So do people ever recognize you and they're like, you're the Juventus guy? I'm pretty sure in some neighborhoods, in some communities, that's probably the case.
A funny story. So I'm in real estate. I've been in the business since I was 19 years old. I'm 56. And I went to this restaurant and this lady came up to me and goes, "Oh, you're the Juventus president."
That's awesome.
And I turned around like, wow, nobody's ever called me that. I mean, everybody knows me as being the realtor, never being, a Juventus president. So yeah, I guess after a while you do get to, you get recognized. Yeah,
okay.
You do. It's actually fun. It's fun. I got to meet so many people that I would have never had the opportunity to meet if it wasn't for this.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, you're pretty connected to the team. Like when they came here I think there was a practice session, maybe like 3 months ago.
Yes, 3 months ago. But we go back in 2008, 2018, 2019. The team actually came here to do the trophy tour. So they actually came here for 3 days. They had 2 legends with them, Mauro Camoranesi and Ravanelli, Fabrizio Ravanelli. They came and they brought the Italian Cup and the Serie A Cup. So they brought the 2 cups that they won, which was great. That alone, we filled the entire restaurant, and we had to tell people that we couldn't have any more because it was getting too crazy.
That's awesome.
And we had just started the club. We were less than a year old when they came.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talk about a big milestone.
Yeah, it was incredible. Thanks to we had people that helped us out, but we were at the very early stages.
Do you have a favorite story since setting up the club, or like an experience? Because I mean, this is a team that you've known since you were a kid.
Yeah, it's hard to. They're all so unique that they're all great in themselves. I think my biggest reward was one day I was in my backyard and I get this text message, and I thought it was a prank. It says, "Hi Pietro, my name is Giorgio Chiellini, and just wanted to reach out and say hi. Do you mind if I keep in touch with you if I'm ever in Vancouver?" For some of you that don't know, but Giorgio Chiellini is one of the better defenders we've ever had in Juventus. He retired not long ago, and at that time he was a player for LAFC. And I had the pleasure when he came to Vancouver to meet him twice. He called me up and he made himself available also for the club.
That's awesome.
At that time, he was not even a Juventus player, but he goes, if you rent a room at the hotel, I'm gonna be there. I'll come out in the LAFC jersey.
Oh, that's so cool.
And he stayed for hours until he got everyone a photo, and everyone got an autograph from him. So I think that's probably the best story I can tell you. I mean, the chance of, now knowing him, and we are in touch all the time. And as of yesterday, he's also part owner of LAFC. He just bought some of the team. So anyways, you never know experience being part of the club, where it brings you and what doors they open for you.
Yeah. Were you ever surprised that some of these guys are just normal?
He's so normal that a lot of them are normal. Some of them are not. I gotta admit.
Okay.
They're not all normal, but the majority are. That's the nice thing I can say. The majority are normal. And you'll be surprised that the normal ones are the ones that are more famous or are more talented. The ones that are not normal, let's call them like that, or
Right.
hard to reach,
Sure.
hard to,
Yeah.
they're not even worth the time or effort. That's the way I look at it.
Have you ever asked them?
Yeah, and I do. He goes, well, I was, they the ones that understand where they're at, they always say they're the fortunate ones. They work hard at it, but they don't forget where they came from.
Right. There's an acknowledgement that perhaps there was luck involved, or perhaps they were at the right place at the right time.
Well, he also says, I came up a road, and there were people helping me every step of the way. He didn't do it all. They didn't do it on their own.
Right.
People helped them out. Knowing somebody, needing something. I mean, it's that's the way it goes. If people don't forget that, I think they're become a lot more successful in life.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's wrap this up here, because
Sure.
you got to be back to work. But what do you think the future plans of the club are? What do you hope to do with the fan club in the coming years?
So right now, I'm in this year, I'm in a restructuring stage. So I want to take more of a president's role. So the only things I do want to do is actually reach out and try to bring talent here, in the sense that the players, trying to attract also sponsorship for us, do the things that presidents should do, and I'm trying to have some of the members to become more involved with the club. So doing the outreach with social media and so forth. We do have a lot of match viewing parties that we invite all the members to come, and we want to increase that. My goal would be to have a clubhouse where if there's a game, we don't have to invite anybody. They know where it is, and the TV will be on.
That's sick.
And that's it. That's
That would be
what.
cool.
That's my ultimate goal, which I want to work on it.
That's awesome, man. Well, as a sign off, if people want to get involved or are interested in learning about the team or the club, how would they do that?
You can Google it. Otherwise, just send us an email at juventus.vancouver@gmail.com. And that will reach myself, the vice president, the secretary. Everybody has access to that. So somebody will get back to you, and we will send you the membership card to a membership form to fill out.
Amazing, man. Okay. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
I appreciate the opportunity.